Every year, we see the world dumping a massive, the estimates that we talk about 2.12 billion tons of waste. And according to one of these estimates that we keep hearing, if all the wastes are put on trucks, they would go around the world 24 odd times. And an estimated 99% of what we buy is trashed within a span of 6 months. And as the World Bank predicts, if action is not taken really on a war footing, waste would grow by 70% from the current level by 2050. And to tackle all of this, countries around the world, we really need to opt for circular economy. So that's the brief background, as we all know. And typically, we characterize it into 3 key facets: the designing of products that reduces waste, using products and materials for as long as possible, and third, of course, recycling end-of-life products back into the economy. One of the key challenges is, of course, also how do we integrate our mid-sized companies, the small companies, into this endeavor, as they have fewer resources really to manage plastic waste management especially. We also really need to look at adequate funding as well as technology and innovation at the grassroots levels, which is extremely important of the small enterprise to help them adapt the EPR. We're indeed very, very happy, and I was, as I mentioned at the outset, to have our Honorable Commerce and Industry Minister and the Minister of Railways, and particularly because the Indian Railways, again, under his leadership, has really very strongly subscribed to this and has decided to ban single-use plastic material on its premises, including trains. And there's some great learning from him, and as I was mentioning, plastic water bottle crushing machines and avoiding single-use plastics is being carried out by the railways. And this will always, of course, have a phenomenal demonstration effect for such a large organization as the railways. So I'd really like to, first of all, congratulate the Honorable Minister for such a great step and such a great leadership, really setting an example on this area.
We have seen immense damage to the ecology over the years. In half a century, the world has added 5 billion people and depleted environmental resources at an unprecedented scale without replenishment. In fact, today, humanity's consumption of resources are much higher than the planet's capacity to regenerate. And this is aptly visible in the Earth Overshoot Day, which progressive forward each year. This year, the Overshoot Day was the 29th of July, which means that for the rest of the 5 months of the year, we are actually going to borrow resources from our children or grandchildren. And at this rate of consumption of resources, mankind actually needs 2 Earths and not 1. And clearly this is not sustainable. Empirical evidence, as you know, suggests that resource intensity and economic growth are linked. With the projected 9 billion population by 2050, it is clear that the world can no longer follow the linear model of take, make, waste. This economic model is no more sustainable. This linear model of take, make, waste has to transform into a circular model which requires, to say the least, a tectonic shift in the manner in which we work today. As enterprises, as society, as consumer, the whole paradigm has to change.
We talked about a collective effort of 130 crore Indians to do away with single-use plastic. And this is not something where we need bans, or this is not something where we need government action and laws to make it happen. The day each one of us in this room decides to make it happen, and then we make sure that our own personal ecosystem, the people whom we influence, the people who come in touch with us in different ways, if we can just ensure a serious effort towards that goal, I don't think it will be very difficult to really get single-use plastic out of this country. You gave some very scary statistics about the amount of waste that's generated. In fact, we are messing around with our oceans the way we are dumping waste into the oceans. And then what will happen to marine life, and then the consequences of that. It's a situation where I think we don't have the luxury of time anymore. It's a situation where each one of us, in the 150th year of Gandhiji's birth, will have to actually follow his diktat, that we will have to be the change that we want to see in the other. We will have to be the harbinger of change that we desire to see in the world. The fact that today we as a nation are in the forefront of the LED movement has certainly helped India in terms of bringing out our carbon footprint, reducing our energy consumption. And I do hope each one of you enjoyed the benefit of lower electricity bills also. And we didn't have to ban incandescent bulbs. We didn't have to ban the CFLs. We just kept the program simple. We made it available at affordable prices. Did honest government procurement to begin with, and then the private sector came in a big way. So without even talking too much about public-private partnership and all of that, it became a natural public-private partnership, the government leading from the front, bringing scale, bringing honesty, bringing good technical parameters and standards, ensuring the value chain, ensuring availability across the length and breadth of the country at affordable prices without a single rupee of subsidy. And then the private sector took over that project. So I suspect if anybody in this room is not using LEDs and is still in CFL or incandescent bulbs, it will be a matter of great concern for us as a nation, because a simple cost economic benefit we have not been able to convey to our people. And the same will go for every aspect of our life.